Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I did find an article 21 devastating stages of a narcissist relationship with an empath. And it's by Deary Davenport. So I may actually bring up some of the highlights of the article. It's pretty amazing. I'll send you the link to it. Empath falls in love with a narcissist. And then there's some stages that they go through. And a lot of them are very similar to if there is such a thing, a regular relationship. You start out in the beginning with the butterflies and all that good stuff, and then we've all dealt with them, whether we understand what they are or not. At some point they sneak up in our lives, and only later, after we're done with that relationship and we start to look back on it, and I feel like most people don't really take the time to evaluate what they just went through. They just move on to the next one. And then they find another one and they're like, how did this happen?
Almost like a pattern.
I feel like if we stop and take time, like I spend more time personally out of relationships than in one.
Yeah.
And so I can do a lot of reflecting, and I know that I'm a magnet for them. Sad but true.
I've been in the same relationship since I was a teenager. I have a lot of experience with a lot of different kind of men, but I will say the men that I have been in relationships with have all kind of had the same personality. So you would not be alone in that, but I think it's also because we are both being empaths. And we're very intuitive and sensitive to other people's emotions.
My guest today, her name is Miss T. Miss T wanted to come on and talk about things in life. So that's where we're going today, and I hope you stick around. It's going to be a really good show today. I consider you an empath. I consider myself an empath, but we are living in a world full of narcissists, and I feel like one of the leading factors, at least with today's generation, is the social media.
Oh my gosh, yes. Absolutely 100%. Because it's all out there.
Everyone's a star.
Right? So I feel like people think they can, okay, they have a like or a dislike. I'm feeling this today. I'm not really feeling this today. So I'm going to go ahead and switch lanes and go on to something else.
Exactly.
It's that easy. And it really is that easy.
Well, in the platforms such as like TikTok, which I love and hate at the same time. Let's just say that, because I love it because I do find a lot of relevant information to things that we are being censored on. And it's also why I feel like they have wanted to ban it, at least in America, because that is where people are finding truth, to situations. But at the same time, you have to get past the, scroll past the ones where it's some clown on there doing some weird stuff and they're getting a million views and you're looking at it going, what is this?
They become millionaires.
Yeah, over nonsense, right? But then the ones who are out there really trying to educate people, they're finding hard to get the traction. So I don't get it. It's where we are. Things like Instagram, the Instagram models, things like that. I don't care to see your ass shaking it around, like whatever. You want to get paid or whatever. You have no skills. We get it. Your only skill is your ass. We get that. But but at the same time, though, would you not agree that if that's what they're doing and there are stupid people out there willing to give them the hits and the likes and whatever to cause their bank to roll, whatever, go on, girl, do your thing, I can't blame you because, it is what it is. That's where we are right now. But again, inception of social media platforms has created overnight stars, and for whatever reason, it has created a generation of narcissistic personalities.
It comes down to it, honestly, and my sister's the one that actually said this to me, but I think there's a lot of truth in it. She said, he's a narcissist. Basically, people throw that term around loosely. I know it's disorder.
True.
But I think nowadays when people use that term and they use it very loosely, what they're really saying is, all combined into one. It's basically someone who is selfish. They put self above everything else.
I often wonder, does a narcissist know they're a narcissist if they haven't been clinically diagnosed? Probably not. They just feel entitled.
There's a lot of people out there that think there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
You're the problem. I'm not the problem. You're the problem.
Yeah, I just want what I want. What's wrong with that?
Right. I want what I want, and I do what I want. And I think a lot of times, it's like I said, it's all about self, and they could care less how it affects anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do what they want to do to make themselves happy, and that's all that matters.
What's your definition of an empath? What do you feel are qualities of the empath?
Well, for me personally speaking, I think an empath is someone, like I said, you're the opposite. You care more about others' well-being, and
Mm-hmm.
you are more in tune with emotions and feelings, and you pick up on it, and you take that. It's like an internal thing. It's like a personal.
It can be overwhelming, I find.
Oh, absolutely.
At least from my point of view, say I'm in a room of, 20 people or whatever. My spidey sense, radar, whatever you want to call it, I think the empath tries to draw those feelings out of the person for whatever reason to make them feel better, to associate with them that, hey, you're not alone. I feel like an empath is more real, everyday situations and what happens to be going on around not only them, but in the world. And it can be a burden. It's a blessing and a burden at the same time, because it's a blessing to be able to understand what is happening. But it's also a burden because sometimes we want to be able to help a situation where we have absolutely zero power to help. So there's the burden, you'll carry the shit, but you can't do anything about it, especially if it's not your issue to take care of. And sometimes we want to do that, and that gets us into trouble. I know I have. I have been, So I feel, it's definitely something that it's a feeling, like you're vibrating on the same level, if you will.
Yeah. It's almost like a soul thing. It's almost like your soul is communicating with another soul.
Yes.
Like I said, their emotions, their feelings. And even if they have a front, okay, if they're putting up a front, like everything is okay in the world, that there's nothing wrong with them, their, outer exterior, or, their persona is all like, I don't know, it's almost like a guard, like they're guarded. People may not be able to see that, but for me, I can see right through it. You can't hide from me. Like, I know exactly what's going on here. You may fool everybody else, but you're not fooling me. I can see it. I can feel it,
Do you think it's a issue of boundaries? I feel like empaths have a different level of keeping boundaries, keeping people from walking over their boundaries, but at the same time, a narcissist wants to bust through boundaries. I think there's the difference. Like, an empath sometimes will let people walk all over their boundaries, while a narcissist says, ooh, there's a gate. Let me bust through that, and see what's on the other side of this, I think that with both personalities, there's boundary issues. The empath wanting to protect themselves in their boundaries, but then the narcissist sometimes has that personality that's just very overwhelming, and they find ways to break through your boundaries and trash them, if you will. So a boundary issue on both sides.
Both sides, yeah, definitely. And I've heard too, and this is kind of crazy until I actually started doing a little more digging and a little more research, into the topic, but doctors or psychiatrists or whatever, what base it is emotions and feelings, and when you're able to do that, they're saying that is almost a trauma response from childhood, or you're monitoring your surroundings and you're extremely like hyper vigilant, like hyper
Mm-hmm.
aware of
Mm-hmm.
what's going on around you.
Empathic intuition is what I like to call it.
Yes. And it's just the weirdest, craziest thing, but it's true. It's like an actual, for me anyways, I know it's just been true, you know, and I can do it, I can sense it, I can feel it. Yep, and empaths are supposed to be, you know, very, very intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and also the narcissist, for the most part, is very unaware of their own emotions. And I feel like they want to draw your emotions so that they can feel something. But then it's a foreign feeling to have empathy to them, so then that turns into hate. They really don't want to be empathic because that makes them vulnerable. And vulnerability, as we know, sucks no matter what. You have to be somewhat vulnerable through life in order to be human. Is my opinion on that. Whereas the narcissist says, "Oh hell no, no," because then you're going to take advantage. You're going to use and abuse me. Like I'm here to do that to you. I'm here to suck the lifeblood from you.
Like they are basically energy
Vampires,
if you will, vampires. Yeah,
absolutely.
They recognize something like a brightness to you, like a light in you.
Yes.
They don't have that for themselves, and the only way for them to get that is to latch on to someone who is that way naturally.
So the moth and the flame.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Something they want, something they desire, but honestly, I don't believe they know how to take care of someone like that, you know, or to care for someone like that. It's almost like they don't know what to do with those feelings and emotions.
That was Janet Jackson. It was one of my favorite songs, like a moth to a flame. I didn't realize that years ago when I heard the song. I just know I love the song. But after a while, I realized she's talking about a narcissistic relationship. Can't you see my desire? You know, things like that, like a moth to the flame. And that to me explained basically the whole empath narcissistic relationship. Like the flame's going to burn you. It's tender little wings of the moth, you know, but the moth can't help but go towards the light, you know, and you can look at it from either side. You can be the moth getting burned up by the narcissist being the flame, or the narcissist is the moth and you're the flame. And when they're attracted to that light, to the flame, eventually they burn up. And the blame is always on the empath anyway, though, you know, because at some point, I think if you're a strong person, which I happen to think you are, I happen to believe I am. I think we're a rare breed of empaths that also we have life skills behind us. You know, we have had enough relationships in our lifetime, be it friends, family, lovers, whatever, that we can recognize pretty early on. Whereas, say, a younger person or not so relationship skilled person, they may not see all the red flags and all the signals that, hey, this is a danger zone and you need to put those boundaries up, you know, find them, enforce them, do what you got to do to save yourself. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I feel that it's about saving yourself, your soul, like from the damages that these relationships will bring. And some are life lasting. You know, they can last a lifetime, the damage that they can do. And it's only through stepping out for a while of relationships, say you're not in a marriage or something, it's only then that you can step back and say, what the hell was that? You know what it was. You knew what it was when you were in it. You were just praying, if you pray. You were praying that this time you're wrong, that it's not that, but you intuitively know that it is that. And so you're trying to take the joy for the moment that it's here, right? We try to just think that, well, okay, then if I know that it's what it is, I'm just going to enjoy the moment. And when it's over, it's over. It doesn't really work like that, you know?
Right. It's like when it's all said and done, I feel like you knew better, but you chose to ignore the signs. And,
Right.
then you end up, I don't want to say hating yourself, but you're beating yourself up because you're thinking, what the heck was I doing?
Exactly.
What was I
Exactly.
doing? Why did I allow myself to go through that?
Well, and the whole communication style is different between the narcissist and the empath. I think that the empath comes to a communication style of loving and giving and caring and, wanting what's best for the other person, forgetting about themselves. Like, okay, I've done this for them and, and that's great. And as humans, we should want to do what's good for someone. But the problem comes in when we forget about, hey, wait a minute, I'm in this too, am I not? Don't I deserve some caring and compassion and respect and love and all that? We forget about that. And they take advantage of that, And then the point is when the narcissist realizes that you're starting to pick up on the red flags and the clues that, hey, this is pretty one-sided. And so you step back and you stop giving and you stop caring, or maybe not as much. Then they're like, wait, it's not all about me with this person? What? So then they start to withdraw because they're like, okay, I'm not getting fed what I need. I'm not getting my supply as much as I was. So what happened? Well, we woke up and realized we were in this alone, so.
And I realized, even, I don't know about for you, but for me, I've realized that even before things come to an end, if they do, with that individual, it could be a friend or a family member or whatever, what have you, I've noticed that even after I picked up on all those signs and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore, or I don't give them that energy, the same energy that they're used to, it's almost like you're saying, they withdraw, and it's like you're going to be disregarded, like they disregard you because you're not giving them what they need at that time.
With a narcissist, they live from a very grandiose perspective of themselves. And so the empath is there to praise them and their accomplishments and their this and their beauty and their, whatever it is. If you stop doing that, that can cause an injury to them. They can't have that, it's like, well, where's my adoration? You're supposed to adore me and put me on this pedestal and like I'm a god, you stop doing that. And that's when it all starts to come down. At least this is what I have noticed over relationships that I've had with this type of individual, that when I realize what they really needed from me, you can't keep that up. Come on, you have to get real. Eventually, you just have to be a person, And it's great that you did this and you did that and whatever, but that shouldn't be the basis for a relationship.
Right.
In fact, it can't be.
It can't be. How would it ever work? It's like it's not a take and take. It's supposed to be a give and take, but in those types of relationships, it's not. It's all about the other. With the narcissist, it's all about them. So there is no give and take. It's only, what can I get from this person to make me feel better about myself and my worth, my self-worth.
And that guy that I dated a couple years ago, that I brought to the restaurant for breakfast that one morning. Now, he was very fine. Really a fine looking man, and smart, intelligent, like very sexy, very, very beautiful, everything, right? I didn't realize it at the time, but I started to realize it. think I saw him for a year and a half, on and off, on and off. At the last go round, I was like, you know what? He even called himself a narcissist one day, and I was like,
My goodness.
yeah, I hadn't even really thought about that. But since he had said it, I thought, wait a minute. He's telling me what he is, and I'm just not paying attention, you know? After the relationship, after I finally ended it for good, I did reflect. I did take some time to think, you know, what was this? And why did I allow him to keep coming back around in round 2, round 3, whatever it was? I still didn't understand that what he was trying to say, he was actually trying to tell me the truth, and I just didn't want to hear it. That was the problem. He was telling me who he was. He was showing me. Now, he was very nice. It's not like he was abusive or anything like that. Because, girl, you know I wouldn't put up with that for 1 minute.
Exactly.
But that's how a lot of them do it. You know, they draw you in, and then they get what their needs are, and then they devalue you. They devalue the relationship by saying, oh, this isn't that, and this is never going to be that. Right now, this is all that I can give, you know? And so words like that, you think, okay, well, maybe in time you can give more.
I've heard, or not always, I shouldn't say I've always heard, but just from digging deeper, and there's a lot of people that just from being in these kind of situations and stuff, like you're saying, this man, he came out and said, I am a narcissist. Okay, well, a lot of the times they will come out and tell you exactly who they are and what they are. And it's like, oh, you deserve somebody better, or
right.
I'm
I love that line, because I do.
In your life right now,
I do deserve something better. That was probably the truest words he ever said, besides I'm a narcissist, right? And the thing is that I didn't even know what I was doing there. I wasn't looking for any kind of relationship at the time when I met him. And, it just became, we'd hang out, we were friends, and then the friends with benefits. And then he said, that's all he was interested in. And I said, that's cool, because I'm not really looking for anything either. But after a while, that becomes boring.
Right.
It just really becomes
connect on a deeper level.
Yes. And then when that happened, and it was me, empath, narcissist, I realized at that point, I'm not getting what I need to get out of this at all. And then it's like the sex became boring. It was hot in the beginning, but then it became boring because I mentally checked out. So I didn't really want what you had to offer, if that's all you have to offer, because then it became the same stuff, and that's boring. If you can't explore and try new things and new places and whatever, it becomes boring. And honestly, boring sex can ruin good relationships, and bad relationships. Good sex can keep a bad relationship going longer than it needs to, right?
Come from that, I believe they stem from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I listen to a guy, his name is, he goes by Stefan Speaks, does a lot of, like a relationship guru.
I don't think I've heard of him. I don't, I'll have to look him up.
He's very, very good. If you ever have a chance, look him up. But he gives excellent relationship advice, and that was one of his topics. Is it doesn't matter how good the sex is, if the relationship is toxic, you walk away. You step away.
Mm-hmm.
You don't stay in that. In that relationship or that environment if it's not just good for you, healthy for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like the empath comes from a place of genuine kindness,
exactly.
to the world, and the opposite of the narcissist, that they want your kindness. They want everyone to be kind to them and giving to them, but they have nothing to give you. And that's a problem, because again, that leads to the one-sided, give and take. But if you're always giving and they're always taking, sooner or later, the gas tank runs empty.
Right.
If there's nothing refilling, then then it's just a matter of time, you know.
Mhm.
And it's unfortunate that we have allowed narcissists to rule the world, is
Right.
basically how I see it.
Those words just came to mind and you spoke them for me. Ruling the world. Yeah, for sure.
There's too many of them, for one. There's
Mhm.
just too many in power, for another thing. I don't know. I don't know where it ends. Honestly, I don't know. I have my suspicions, but at the same time, we don't want to look at that. We don't want to look at the fact that we have allowed these people to take over the world and gain all this power and control to the point
Right.
that they are willing to basically blow up the world in order to hide their dirty deeds. You know, what they've been doing to humanity for eons, basically, probably since the beginning of time. See, I don't believe in power and control over anyone. And that's
Right.
just the stance I have always come from. And maybe that is what has allowed me to become a victim a few times in my life of these kind of people. Not that I look at myself as a victim either. I just look at myself as a person in circumstance that this is where I found myself. And when I woke up is when I left, you know. But
Right.
there's no leaving this. So right now I'm getting out there. I'm trying to meet people, hopefully meet a like-minded man and, you know, connect on that level. I don't know how much
Right.
time we have before they shut the doors on us again, but I'm
gosh,
actively
you know.
trying to meet someone who I can relate to that understands me and I understand them and we're thinking the same thing so that we can move forward into our future, even if it means just us alone, you know, for a time being. That would be great because I need human touch. I need human compassion. I need understanding. And I have so much that I want to give. And when
Right.
you can't give, it's like shutting off that spigot, you know, eventually it's going to burst, right? So
Right.
that's where I feel like I'm getting to at the moment. And so I've decided to take a proactive approach and to get out there and start dating, but not dating for the sake of dating. I am very selective, as you know. And
Right. Yeah.
that's why I stay alone more than in a relationship because I am too selective sometimes, I guess. I'm
Which is
hoping.
not a bad thing, you know.
Right.
You have standards.
Of
You know what
course.
you're
Of
willing
course.
to,
And honestly,
you know.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening lately, but something's happening to me spiritually, emotionally, physically. Like, I don't even look the same. I haven't seen you in a while, but
Right.
when you see
Yeah,
me,
it's been too long.
you're going to be like, wow. I mean, what's that word when you regress backwards physically? Like, I look about 15 years younger
Oh my
than
gosh.
just a year ago. I don't know what is
Wow.
happening. It's the skin, it's the hair, it's my my look. Like, I don't know what's
Right.
happening. I can't even explain it as to what's happening. Even people that I do see on a regular, they're like,
Yeah.
"Wow, did you do this? Did you do that?
Yeah.
Did you?"
Something's different. They can see something, a
Yeah.
difference, you know, in you.
I think a lot of it happens to be the spiritual journey that I've been on, but in another sense, I do have an awesome stylist. And he cut my hair a few weeks ago, and oh my God, it's like the most perfect cut I've ever had in my whole life. It's just amazing. But also, I have started using like vitamin E oil on my
Oh
face.
yeah.
On my face, because a friend of mine told me about it, and I was like, all right, I'll try it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's it. I don't know what's happening, but I swear to God, when you see me, you're going to be like, holy shit, you know? I look about 15 years younger than just a year
Wow.
ago. Like, it's so incredible. And I have these younger guys like hitting on me. And I'm thinking, buddy,
I believe it.
I'm probably
I
old enough to be
believe
your
it.
mom, you know.
Maybe
Maybe.
maybe it's like maybe you feel more at peace with things and with yourself and
That
you
has
know.
something to do with it. Yeah, like I said, I've been on a spiritual journey, and I do believe that has a lot to do with it because, as again, when I was with that last narcissist a couple years ago, I started seeing it in my face. What is happening to me? I started
It
like,
wears on you.
app,
Well, it's
yes,
stress, from
rapidly
it
aging.
physically
And now it's like
30
I'm going
down.
the other way. And I'm like, I didn't even know that was possible. And I'm doing all my probiotics and like everything and hitting the gym and just doing everything hardcore.
Right.
So maybe all of that combined together is what is happening. But I'm
Right.
liking it, whatever it is. I need to figure it out so I do it even more, but it's crazy. It's crazy. I will see you soon and you will tell me, like, wow,
Yeah, I believe it.
I even saw a girlfriend of mine that I haven't seen in a few months, and she was like, girl, what's different? What? And
Mhm.
so I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't even know what it is. And a lot of it is mental.
I
Like a
think
lot of
so.
it is mental.
I think so.
I think then you're right. You come back to a peace, and empaths are really good at coming back to peace after a
Mhm.
storm. It's just in us. It's in our DNA
And it's
to
like an
eventually come
inner,
back.
like we have an inner strength,
Yes, that a lot of the world doesn't have.
like a fighting spirit.
Yes, and the world should thank us for being here.
Right?
Now I'm talking like a
Exactly.
narcissist. And I believe
For sure.
everybody has a little bit of narcissism in them because everyone has an ego. We have an ego since
Right.
inception.
Mhm.
And then when you're a baby, the narcissist only starts to grow bigger because, oh, if I cry, I get the bottle. If I do this, I get that. So that
Mhm.
that begins the ego's training how to get what it needs to survive. Now, as you get older, it's not only just about survival, but it's about the pleasures in life. So I need to do this to get personal pleasures from people.
Right. Right.
And I need to do this in order to get power from people. And so it just continues to grow. I don't know that a narcissist is born a narcissist, but I think society has a way of developing and creating the narcissist. It's like a
I wonder
monster.
if their upbringing has a lot to do with it too.
Nurture
Like
versus nature.
yeah,
Yes,
yes.
I agree.
It comes from somewhere. I swear nowadays, you
I
know,
believe that.
that's all you hear is, inner child work and shadow
Right,
work and
right.
reparenting the inner child. And it's like, to
There
it's,
is, there is. But at the same time, we can
mhm.
take that too far. Like,
Yes.
if we take it so far, let's just reject everything out there and everyone out there and let's just go totally in. Okay, so where's that getting you? Is that getting you happy? Is that holding you at night? Is that kissing you? Is
Right.
is that making your soul happy to be so alone? No, it doesn't. But if that's what
No.
someone needs to do or feels they need to do, then so be it. Do it.
Mhm.
You know, hope you enjoy that. I
Right.
personally
Right.
can do both at the same time. I can heal myself, I can find myself, I can
Right.
love myself, I can do all of that, but I will not
Mhm.
close the door.
Right.
So where do you think it goes as far as the empaths and the narcissists? Like, I feel like we are the empaths and the narcissists are
Mhm.
controlling everything right now.
Ruling the world
Yes,
currently. Mhm.
exactly.
I almost feel like there's going to be, like you were saying, kind of like an uprising. Like we're going to eventually have enough, and there's going to be a lot of pushback. That's what I feel like.
I
Go
feel the
on like
same.
this for forever, can they? You know?
No, it can't. It can't continue down this
Mhm.
path because it's just not normal for humanity to be so violent and so angry. And I get it that we have this ability in ourselves and our probably in our DNA from caveman times. But we're not living in caveman times anymore. We're supposed to be a civilized society.
Right. Modern times. Yeah.
Calls for modern debates and like, why can't we have debates like we used to? I used to be in a debate club in high school. I
Mhm.
freaking loved it. I loved debate. It was great. I was in my chess club. I was in debate. I was all the
Mhm.
academic stuff. And now I feel like that's not even allowed. There's no such thing as
Mhm.
debate. What's debate? You must be a racist. You know,
Yeah.
you want to
Right.
debate? You got to be a
Right.
racist. I'm sick of that word being thrown around too. Like the narcissist, if you don't agree with me, well, you're racist. Wait.
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, but you're white and I'm white. So how's that racist? Explain it,
Yeah.
I don't like the president because he's a clown, so that makes me a racist. He's white, like people just don't make any sense anymore. And they don't even care that they don't
No.
make any sense. Spouting off, gaslighting, saying whatever they want to say. They don't care if you agree or disagree. It's just a way to shut people up. And it's
Exactly.
propaganda,
Yeah.
like you say. Now, if people go back and they think about before World War One or World War Two, that was one of the ways that they got things started, was to start to turn the people against each other. It was
And it
so
worked.
easy too because people are weak. We are
Right.
weak minded. And
Mm-hmm.
they say we only use a certain percentage of our brain. Why are we not using all of our brain? What's the
Mm-hmm.
reason for that? I don't know it. Maybe scientists say they don't know it, but I think it's been turned off somehow
Yes.
genetically, that we can't use the parts of our brain that would bring us to a resolve of, peace and loving and living civil and taking care of each other. Like what happened to that? What's so wrong with living a peaceful existence? Why is everyone so angry and judgmental and downright disgusting? So
It's crazy. I'd rather we all be living in harmony, peace.
it all sounds
You
good.
know. But unfortunately,
That's one of the things I've
excuse
always
me,
loved
those are
about you.
that.
It's one of the things I've always loved about you ever since I met you. I knew on day one that you were a special individual, that you
Thank you.
care, you care about things. And yet, at the same time, much like myself, you can care to a point, but you're not going to let people step on you, walk all over your boundaries,
Right.
and try to put you in that box. You're not going to have it.
Right.
Your claws can come out
Oh yes.
just like that. And I love it.
That.
I love it.
Yeah. It takes a while for me. I won't
Exactly.
allow
I
so
have a long
much, but
fuse, right? Same.
eventually, after I've had enough, and it's like, okay, no more. Enough is enough. And like you said, it's like that fighting spirit that comes out. It's like, I'm not going to put up with this anymore.
Right. Exactly.
So and that's when the boundaries, they probably should have been established beforehand, but
It has been my pleasure, and you are always welcome to come on another episode anytime you want. If you have a topic, and this goes for all the audience out there, if you have a topic, something you want to dig deep into, I'm always here. Just shoot me a line, if you're out there, DM me, whatever. And Miss T, call me, say, hey, I got this great idea. I'm always
definitely.
here. I'm not going anywhere. I might have been gone for a little bit over the summer, but again, everybody understands. I'm so happy I
And
got
now you're
to.
back.
Yeah, now I'm back. And also, like I said, we're trying to get more people over on the Rumble because I know at some point, maybe even today, I always say each episode, it might be today that I kind of piss off the oligarchs, and they rip my channel away. So we are on Rumble at TDSOTHC, and it's a little different from the YouTube. Definitely look for us over on the Rumble and subscribe over there in case you never find us back on the YouTube. We're on Podbean, that's our home. And always have our website. So we're everywhere. They're not going to stop us. And I appreciate you taking the time today to be with us and shed some of your light and plant some of your seeds to the world. So other than that, any last words, any final thoughts?
Be careful out there. That's all I can really say.
Right. I know this one guy says, keep your head on a swivel.
Very true. Positivity and, sharing your light and,
Yes.
I don't know, not letting people stomp on your light. I don't know, try to keep things moving, I guess.
Exactly.
Make it, right?
And like I'm always saying, keep those vibrations high because these psychopaths, they feed off of fear. And that's all they really want is for us to be so afraid that we'll just do whatever they say. And I'm sorry, I don't believe in power of anything or anyone other than nature. Nature is all powerful. Nature will tell us if we're going to have one more day or not. So in the meantime, do what you can to keep those vibrations up. Miss T, I love you. You know that. You're my soul sister, and I'm looking forward to seeing you real soon. Thank you, sweetheart. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.